Board Exam, Chapter 4. Inter Exam English 100 marks objective question answer. I have a dream. 1. The slum area densely populated by an isolated community is marked by A. Safe place. B. Fallen. C. Ghetto. D. Oasis. Answer C. 2. King is regarded as one of the greatest A. Artists. B. Scientists. C. Separatists. D. Orators. Answer D. 3. The author advocates A. Non-violent struggle. B. Violent struggle. C. Both the ways. D. None of these. Answer A. 4. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in A. 1939. B. 1929. C. 1919. D. 1969. Answer B. 5. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on A. March 4th. B. April 4th. C. May 4th. D. December 4th. Answer B. 6. King was assassinated in A. 1968. B. 1954. C. 1942. D. 1978. Answer A. 7. I Have a Dream is a speech delivered by King on A. August 28, 1963. B. June 28, 1965. C. May 28, 1953. D. April 28, 1973. Answer A. 8. America gave the Negro people A good check. B. A bad check. C. A torn check. D. None of these. Answer B. 9. By the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, the hopes of the Negro population A. Fulfilled. B. Half fulfilled. C. Remained unfulfilled. D. None of these. Answer C. 10. To overlook the Negro would be A. Good. B. Beneficial. C. Fatal. D. None of these. Answer C. 11. The Negroes made the pledge that they will always A. March ahead. B. March back. C. March slowly. D. None of these. Answer A. 12. How many times King repeats that we cannot be satisfied? A. 2 times. B. 3 times. C. 5 times. D. 6 times. Answer C. 13. The word momentous stands for A. Foolishness. B. Aggressive. C. Very important. D. Unimportant. Answer C. 14. They had dreamed that one day they would A. Divide the nation. B. Kill the white people. C. Get their rights. D. None of these. Answer C. 15. Racial discrimination is against A. Capitalism. B. Power. C. Secularism. D. Human rights. Answer D. 16. I Have a Dream is written by A. Germaine Greer. B. Shiganoya. C. Martin Luther King Jr. D. H.E. Bates. Answer C. 17. Martin Luther King Jr. has written the lesson A. The Artist. B. I Have a Dream. C. A Pinch of Snuff. D. Bharat is my home. Answer B. 18. I Have a Dream is a part of speech delivered by A. Bertrand Russell. B. Shiganoya. C. Martin Luther King Jr. D. H.E. Bates. Answer C. 19. Martin Luther King Jr. belonged to A. Britain. B. France. C. China. D. The USA. Answer D. 20. The condition of the appalling. A. African. B. Negroes. C. Indians. D. None of these. Answer B. 21. Is sweltering with the heat of injustice and oppression. A. New York. B. Texas. C. Chicago. D. Mississippi. Answer D. 22. Was a great orator. A. Pearl S. Buck. B. Shiganoya. C. Martin Luther King Jr. D. Germaine Greer. Answer C. 23. Martin Luther King Jr. was a Negro. B. German. C. French. D. None of these. Answer A. 24. Nobel Prize for Peace was given to Martin Luther King Jr. in A. 1963. B. 1964. C. 1965. D. 1966. Answer B. 25. Negroes are the former of America. A. Farmers. B. Traders. C. Slaves. D. None of these. Answer C. 26. Is a desert state of the USA. A. Mississippi. B. Alabama. C. Georgia. D. None of these. Answer A. 27. Martin Luther King Jr. had children. A. 1. B. 2. C. 3. D. 4. Answer D. 28. Advocates nonviolent struggle. A. Pearl S. Buck. B. H.E. Bates. C. Martin Luther King Jr. D. Shiganoya. Answer C. 29. Martin Luther King Jr. loves the white. A. African. B. Asian. C. European. D. American. Answer D. 30. Martin Luther King Jr. was A. Artist. B. Civil rights activists. C. Scientist. D. Philosopher. Answer B. 31. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his speech in Washington, D.C. on August 8, 25, 1963. B. 28, 1963. C. 12, 1964. D. 28, 1965. Answer B. 32. Martin Luther King Jr. dislikes discrimination. A. Caste. B. Sex. C. Religion. D. Racial. Answer D. 33. I Have a Dream is a speech delivered by A. Jermaine Greer. B. Shiga Nadia. C. H.E. Bates. D. Martin Luther King Jr. Answer D. 34. The Bank of Justice is A. Bankrupt. B. Highway. C. Staggered. D. Struggled. Answer A. 35. Has given the Negro people a bad check which has come back marked insufficient fund. A. Europe. B. Highway. C. America. D. Mexico. Answer C.
That boy sus. Get the pump, that's a must. I don't trust. Okay.